Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Tnat Arts and Culture jong ka Sarkar Jila, ha ka Pynlong bat ka Sarkar Jila, ka Unesco, ka Intact, ka MBMA, hene ka sngi ka Pynlong ka workshop Halor ki Jingkieng jri, ne ki Living Root Bridge Cultural Landscape, ha Heritage Club Tripura Castle Shillong. Ha bakrana ka ni ka sngi u Principal Secretary ka Tnat Forest and Environment Usampat Kumar, ulong baya ka nila stang da umintri rang ba ka Jila u Konrad Sangma, ubalapan pawa ka Jingtrang banwanra ya ka UNESCO, bat kularu ban mangkerpang nak benta ka ni ka project ula benrap ru ba shibun ke jingwat Bniah ni ki research ki balasdang nak benta ban Peit Bniah Halor kini ki Jingkieng jri hak ba ka sarkar ke trilang bat ki shnong ki thau ban Bniah ye kini ki project shakman nak liang ka Chief of Culture Unit UNESCO New Delhi South Asia Regional Office ka Junhi Han habakran ka ni ka sngi ka laban pau ke jingsngongo ya ka sarkar Meghalaya ka balawalam ye ki shakajala ban ti Bniah Halor kini ki Jingkieng jri. Kelaban rap da kabaong begini ki Jingkieng jri ha Meghalaya, kide ki bakerpang shisha ki bapun pau ki jingyasuk, hapdeng kamaryang bat ki brio. Kalaya ro ru ya ka sarkar jila, kabalapun pau ki jinglong kerpang jong ka jila lingba kini ki Jingkieng jri, bat pen i shaka perthai, kilong kerpang shisha namar yakini omsham na penwandor da ki kor ki bor, hendai da kasap kaba ublay ula ai ki nong shong shnong. Kalakentu bakum kini day ban penne pensa, bat bandri kendong yaki, dak bahikai ru iki khon samla jong ka juk bamenta bakintip ya katenrai kumno ban penne pensa ikini ki Jingkieng jri nakliang ukong san u Dr. David R. Simli ubaderu ubayo ya ka khusnam pat mashri kumjuru ubade u chairman barim ka UPSC habakran ka ni sngi ulaong baudap da ka Jingkmen bane shimentalang ha ka ni Jingkendo Halor ka phang guiding the preparation of World Heritage Nomination this year for Jingkieng jri Ulaong bakini ki Jingkieng jri ki long ki badan kambha nak benda ki nong shong shnong khamtam ban long ki Jingkieng Halor ki wa dot hak baki pat ba ki yo e khalat ban kam shashilyang ka wa shushu ulaong ru baki pat ba ki badan kam da ki jermi ki set ban tenanti ki ni ki jermi na shilyang shashilyang baki nik samling ba bad hadien baki lahe ki kelalong kum kelinti ban kam ki ni ki wa ulaong bakini ki long kerpang hadu kata kata nak benda ki nong shong shnong ulaong ru bakini ki Jingkieng jri ki don ki bala yapno ba do jat Hendai ki don pan ki badang ne adang sa hadu menta hak bagi don ki Jingkieng ki balakin jo spa snam bad don ru ki bala palat u doctors emli ula benrap bagi ni ki Jingkieng jri lalap hakaleng ka rilum khasi bad jantia
Babankit has given a beautiful presentation, so I think now we'll call you as a professor. You spoke so well. So what I wanted to say is that, like, what is the importance of this? Just few insights as I want to give, for the submission of UNESCO, especially for Ms. Julie and the team. See, I think you must have seen from the presentation, like, what we have been trying to do. In fact, this was, the project was started way back in 2018, as mentioned. In fact, our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Konrad Sangma, who actually has got excited when we presented this idea to him that, we have a great proposition to take it to the UNESCO World Heritage status. So he immediately said, like, okay, like, whatever the support that is required, we'll provide for this particular project. So I think with that political supportability, we initiated this project, and then we started, like engaging some of the best experts, very passionate people. In fact, there used to be one researcher who used to work with National Geographic, and we have hired him, and we put him through the project, like Mr. Sanjeev Shankar. And then we also identified a local champion like Kang Era, who worked in that particular area and cooperative department. So we put very good team, around this one, and we started working on this particular project. And in fact, I want to tell you, we took opportunity during the COVID times, where in fact we got this opportunity for all these 300 plus meetings, community meetings, we organized during the COVID times. so that's the kind of thing. So we used to get have these meetings, and this entire idea of forming the cooperative also has come up through the process. So today, I think we learned, in fact, a lot of discoveries happening through this project, the kind of a value proposition that this project has. So much discovery that we could able to find out. Basically, we are following essentially, I would like to tell you, there is a lot of research has been brought in. You must have seen through this project, like the kind of research institutions that have been engaged to prepare this dossier. and there's a lot of research was happening. At the same time, we also have invested a lot on community participation. This is a very important thing. See, Meghalaya is a state actually which has especially the community governance is there. How to bring that strength into this project? So we in fact deliberately we actually built this project as it is nominated by the communities along with the government. So government is a supporting institution, but it is the communities who are actually bringing this entire idea before the board. So that was the kind of a stance that we have taken. And then we also actually, not only that, we also have been investing a third thing, the institution building. So in fact, you all aware, Meghalaya has, this is again a good example. Today, the art and culture department has taken this forward. So while MB, BA and MBA are working as a technical organizations, building that entire knowledge and then giving it to the department so that it can be sustained, for longer. So that's the kind of an idea. So that's where the beautiful, a model of governance actually has been envisaged in this project, so that for the sustainability of the project and also to bring that outstanding universal value out of this project. So I think that's something that I would like to present to everyone. But this is something very, I really, thank the Unesco team actually for having, come here, because this is again our Chief Minister met the UNESCO, the leadership at Paris, I think last year, along with Mr. Frederick Katkumar and also our CS man. We were also there, I suppose, Madam Magdalene and others, who were there, who brought this entire idea before them, and that's why this visit is happening. And we're glad that during this visit, during this technical session, we'll get much more, concrete, basically a compelling reason why actually this needs to be actually, recognized as UNESCO World Heritage status. So this would, in terms of two things. One, it tremendous value to young people. You must be seeing these young people who are sitting behind you. They're all young conservation people who are part of this entire work, living root work, these cooperatives. So all these young people can be involved in this beautifully, and they can really become the champions, climate champions for the whole world. So that's something, that is one idea. And the other idea also, it also brings a lot of the hope is that it brings a lot of value in terms of economic value to the people who are actually doing this work. So with this few words, I would like to again thank everyone for participating in this workshop, and also thank you especially for the UNESCO team. Thank you.
To be here in Pynlong today on behalf of UNESCO's South Asia office for this important workshop on the Living Root Bridge, Jingkieng, a truly unique cultural landscape that speaks to the harmony between people and nature. First, I'd like to extend our warm thanks to the government of Meghalaya for their warm welcome and for their sustained efforts to bring international attention to this extraordinary heritage. I also would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the Meghalaya Basin Development Authority, community members, scientists, experts, and government partners who have tirelessly worked over the past several years to conserve and document these living structures. The Living Roots Bridge, or Jingkieng of Meghalaya, are truly unique in the world. Shaped not by machines or modern tools, but by generations of indigenous knowledge. These structures represent a rare confluence of ecology, resilience, and tradition. They embody not only the ingenuity of the people who tended them, but also a way of life that respects the natural environment, values intergenerational learning, and lives in deep dialogue with the rhythm of the land. As you know, UNESCO has been advocating for a holistic approach for heritage, one that goes beyond the physical monument to include the living practices, beliefs, and the community systems that give meaning to places. These principles, strongly reinforced by the Naples Conference and its call for action, highlights the interconnectedness between built heritage and living heritage, and urges all of us to view heritage as a dynamic system where tangible and intangible elements are inseparable. UNESCO deeply values traditional knowledge system and recognizes that the long-term safeguarding of these systems depends on their transmission to future generations. Today, we will reflect on how we can best support the government of Meghalaya in safeguarding and transmitting this remarkable traditional knowledge that makes the Living Root Bridge possible. This workshop is not only about inscription, but also about recognition. Recognition of community agency, recognition of innovation born from tradition, and recognition of the responsibility we all share in preserving such knowledge system. We deeply appreciate the government of Meghalaya for supporting this unique and outstanding site and for actively involving and empowering the community in this process. Such inclusive and community-led efforts are essential for the long-term safeguarding and celebration of heritage. Thank you. I look forward to our discussion and to learning from all of you. Thank you so much.
My dear friend Frederick Hartmore invited me for this function when I'm a historian and not an environmentalist. But I do have something to say, and I've read up and I've mentored 2 books on the living root bridges. It gives me much pleasure to address this gathering in today's workshop on guiding and preparation of World Heritage Nomination dossier for Jingkieng, Living Root Bridge Cultural Landscape. I join the government of Meghalaya and the people of Meghalaya in welcoming the visiting UNESCO team to our state. Trust, madam, you have a happy and fruitful visit to our abode of clothes. Your site visit tomorrow to several of the living root bridges will be a remarkable trek. The earliest reference of the living root bridges in the Khasi and Jhanti Hills was Henry Yule's Notes on the Khasi Hills and People, published in the Journal of the Asiatic Society of Bengal, 1844. It provided a sketch of a root bridge across the Temshum. Just mention is made of Temshum. It's not a river or a stream, but just the Temshum. And I wonder whether it's been located, because that would be the first location and sketch that anybody has done. He mentions the trade in oranges, pineapple and betel nut that these bridges facilitated in the southern foothills of the Khasi Hills. This was followed by the botanist Joseph Dalton Hooker with his keen sense of observation in Notes of a Naturalist. It's a 2-volume Himalayan journal published in 1855. It also provides a sketch and a description wherein he writes, the property of their roots which inosculate and form natural grass is taken advantage of in bridging streams and in constructing what are called living bridges of the most picturesque form. Here perhaps is the first, if not the earliest reference to the term living bridges. I did a check on the internet the other day, wondering who was the first person to make a reference to the living bridges. And it is you. But then we have to find out whether such a phenomenon was also reported in other languages. We are so obsessed with English, and we need to find out from others whether they have also made a reference to the living root bridges. Botanists have made very elaborate and fascinating studies on various aspects of the Ficus elastica, their location and environment, their planting and growth and their numbers across the southern slopes of the Meghalaya plateau. It is noted that villagers tie the aerial roots of the rubber tree to both ends of streams to pieces of bamboo, which then help guide these roots towards each other and intertwine. The process of this botanic architecture can take 20 to 30 years. The ficus roots are also made, and this is not mentioned, and I wish it could be. The ficus roots are also made in the construction of ladders and platforms, such as at Unyu Mar village and several other locations. I think we've been making a reference to the living root bridges, but at the same time there are platforms and ladders that perhaps need mentioned in the dossier. These bridges connect remote villages through steep and precipitous terrain across deep gorges and valleys. Such bridges enable the Khasi Jayantis over millennia. How old is this? It is worried that it could be 500 years or more. And there's a mention today that it could be a 2,000 year tradition that we have inherited. Such bridges enable the Khasi Jayantis over millennia to move from village to village, carrying their horticultural produce and perhaps iron too, excavated and smelted in the higher reaches of their hills. These were carried to markets in the plains of Sylhet and bartered for commodities not available in the hills. While many Jingkieng jiri continued to be in use, several had decayed or grown wild and are in dilapidated state. Sitting and listening to the presentations today, I remembered I have contributed perhaps to one of the earliest references, again in the English language, of a memoir of Robert Lindsay, who makes the first reference to the Khasis visiting Sylhet. Again, that was because he was the superintendent of Sylhet, and he could see what he called Tartars coming from the hills down to the plains carrying iron. And I believe these living root bridges were also used in the carriage, in the transport of iron over our hills. Interest in the living root bridges has in recent times drawn the attention of tourists from near and afar and the keener adventurer. Researchers who surely are avid trackers include those exploring the pollination of the fig species that form the living root bridges in the state of Meghalaya. They have identified a fig wasp from rubber fig trees. This is the first record, and this research was done by Dr. Lucy Nombri, who's here. Congratulations, Dr. Lucy. This is the first. They have identified the fig wasp from rubber fig trees. This is the first record of the species in the region, which is the westernmost portion of the fig trees range restricted to South and Southeast Asia. The study shows that the pollination system of the fig species and its unique pollinator is still intact in Meghalaya. Universities around the world are involved in research in the Jingkieng jiri, including my alma mater, Northeastern Hill University. And today, after many years, I have met one of the mentors in this organization, Kong, who is the chairperson of the group. We were students together at Nehu way back in 1974. And that's many years ago. Nehu has celebrated his 52nd anniversary. Universities around the world are involved in research in the Jingkieng jiri, including my alma mater. Their efforts aims to take vital steps in study, maintenance and repair of the living root bridges. In March 2019, the first interdisciplinary conference on living root bridges was held at the Northeastern Hill University. The uniqueness of the living root bridge phenomena, apart from their structure, are the numbers in a concerted space. Of the more than 100 Jingkieng in the War Jangkya and War Khasi region, Nong Blai has within its boundary of 1 square kilometer an astounding number of 16 ficus bridges. If this is remarkable, Bniah, south of Peninsula, has 24 bridges. Several bridges are located close to and within village sacred groves, another ecologically friendly feature of the Khasi Jangkya people. The Khasi Jangkyas of the War region of the southern foothills share similar cultural traits with those of the Kinriam highlands and the Bhoi region in the north. There is a commonality in their origin and migration, of language with its distinct variation, and of religion, including their megalithic cultures. I would like to have known from the presenters whether there are megalithic structures close to these living root bridges. It could come perhaps in the discussion that would follow. They also share a common lineage system structured in the distinctively matrilineal and clan organization. The Meghalaya government has done well to start several site-specific Jingkieng conservation measures in consultation with experts and policymakers. The steps are supported by community efforts encouraged through village cooperatives derived from living root bridge villages. Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps I've been incoherent. I'm not keeping that well, but it was the love of this organization and arts and culture that brought me here today. You would have noticed perhaps that I had my tea with, as I came up to stand for this function, and also a sweet. I needed the energy. But my last lines are, I think, crucial. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude this short address with the hope that this workshop and earlier consultations will enable the people concerned that theirs is truly a heritage that merits encouragement and support. Good night.